see the young man who was in the kitchen, I want you to go over and to apologize. I'm not going to do that.
Who would say I'm not going to do that?
No, he didn't say that.
Oh.
He just put his head down for a while, trying to think of how do I get out of it.
Because your grandma was admonishing him?
Yet she knew that there was someone in the area because they were city kids and sent to the O'Hara house to get the vegetables and everything out that had been ordered by the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
That there was a good possibility that would become a permanent customer if you know how to treat people. And of course, if you have the camp there, many of the campers were probably from the city. So no, I'm just so glad that the place was convenient for my mother to meet my father. Well, I mean, she was a sweetheart, but he knew when he saw a sweetheart, you know?
He did, didn't he?
He did, and he also knew what to say to her, my mother and father.
He was very polite.
I think in Daddy's family there was only Barbara and Tom.
He had a brother, Tom? I never met Tom, but I met Aunt Barbara.
You met who?
I met Barbara Brown.
Oh, Barbara Brown was
Daddy's sister. Yeah.
And Brown was also the man that she married, I think.
Yes. Mm-hmm. In Boston. She had a Boston accent.
That she what?
She had a Boston accent or a Maine
Yes.
accent?
Yes. No, I think they were pleased with Daddy and pleased with whoever else knew how to behave and how to be helpful when they were in this. There were no dishwashers or anything. And what did my mother say that sometimes good grandpa called his wife? Woman, didn't you hear me say that I didn't want any more fried food? No, woman, I don't want it. And she would just be uppity and say, my name is not woman. So I'm afraid I don't know who I'm talking to.
They had a good time together.
You really have to be sharp,
right,
and love it, because I think they were trying to teach each other.
That's probably true, yeah.
But because of the camp that was near, that Tom Conley went to,
Mm-hmm.
he was one of the polite boys sent over for vegetables.
Yep.
And that's all my grandmother had to see, because she usually answered the door. My grandfather was out. Woman, if they want something, they can tell me. She said, not the way you talk to them. They won't tell you. They'll tell me, and I'll use a piece of paper and write down every single thing they say, and I'll put it together in a bag and say, Mr. So-and-so, that adds up too. No, I mean, don't you think a certain time in life calls for a certain number of humanity? You know, a certain kind of Mr. and Mrs. to cope with it.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Daddy fell for my mother right away, and of course, right away, he loved Grandma. Oh, yes, sweetheart, how did you like the last vegetables? He said, everybody wanted more. Well, he was from a camp.
Yeah.
No, and of course, Doris, there was a wedding, and Doris came along, and Johnny. And Johnny was very popular because he loved Grandpa. You know, can I play with you, Grandpa? Can I play with you? He had to be corrected by the rest of the family. Play with you, you know. Oh, those were beautiful times, and don't you think there's time in history where there's a certain type of person? Daddy was a certain type of person who happened to be at the camp during those days, who came from a family that was small and, you know, and everything, and he respected John O'Hara because John O'Hara had this great big hard working camp, but he also had a lovely looking wife who was doing the work, you know, and everything. Mary, John and Mary, you know, and everything. Father was always complimenting them on how well they did their job. So I think that was one reason that my father was strict with us in terms of your mother and I are running this business. We'll tell you how it's done. We'll tell you how to set the table, fix the plates, because boarding house.
Yeah, well, that was the way.
And I'm sure it gets around when people start going to boarding houses and maybe catch up with each other somewhere. Who has the nicest place, cleanest, tastiest, and nice to be around with the young people who are polite to us. Johnny was told never to raise his voice and never to say a word because they were afraid he might swear.
Really? That's good.
No, but I mean, he was also a good combination. You know, when you think of your uncle, remember?
Yeah, I remember him.
He was from the country, but. And then how did he meet Mother? No, he didn't meet Mother.
Well, who are you talking about now? You've got lots of people. Yeah, we have lots of lovely, happy people you've known in your life. So you had Grandma and Grandpa O'Hara.
Who had the family.
And then your dad met
my mother when he was working
at the camp, coming for the vegetables.
And come and get the vegetables or get what was ordered by the camp.
Right, and then Thomas Conley and Dorothy O'Hara got married.
Well, he was very polite to Grandma.
Right.
And you know, everything was delicious. Everything was good. Everything was. May I have more, madam? You know, and all this stuff. Honestly, when you think of nowadays, with the wise guy, idea or whatever, that's why he couldn't stand at our house when we were having the, boarding house. He couldn't stand hearing Johnny ever be wise guy to anybody. And he said, upstairs and outside.
Because
and when I get outside, you're going to mow lawn until you couldn't see anymore. You know.
Because the only way to keep the customers was to be polite to them.
No, Daddy, my grandfather just fell in love with, no, who was it? Someone in the family liked my grandmother. So that the O'Hara family had Georgie and Robert and how many boys were there? 4 boys? Robert and George and
Bill.
Who?
Bill,
William, yes.
Charlie.
Oh, that's right, Charlie. So you had 5 boys there?
Somewhere thereabouts, and a bunch of girls too. It added up to 9 is my recollection of listening to Nana,
Oh, Nana. Yeah, she was,
your mother.
yeah, my mother was,
I
I
called
think
your
the
mother
favorite
Nana.
girl in the family. Well, there was Agnes and Biney and quite a few. My mother was always smiling and saying, hello, hello. Anybody need me?
Yes, Nana was always happy. Nana was
Yeah.
very, very happy.
Those are the people you want around you.
Yes, you want happy people around you. Yes.
And so she also was a common in terms of having anybody like her come back again to work at that. It wasn't Conley House. It was before Conley House. It was something else. And then when Doris got old enough, she became very popular with the others because she could talk to them about everything. Vegetables were, would you like a sample? I'll save some, and everything. No, I think we were very lucky in the childhood we had. Don't you?
Yes. Well, I wasn't there, but I think you were lucky for all the great stories you have to tell.
And they met, as I told you, a million times, because Daddy was a camp boy who was sent to the O'Hara house to get a list of the vegetables that had been ordered by their, chef or somebody. They didn't use that word then. But Dad